Cafe Ladro started in 1994 on Upper Queen Anne, and in 96 expanded to a second cafe down on Lower Queen Anne, and has grown since then. Now there are 13 cafes in the greater Seattle area.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2011, at the end of the year, we started roasting our own coffee, and that's when I came on board to help that process along. And the reason we decided to do that, or the reason that that Jack and his crew then decided to take it in a new direction, well, there are a lot of reasons, but quality and transparency and traceability, and also wanting to have his own product that he could put out to other businesses and other people, and to develop a new line of Cafe Ladro roasted coffee.
So did you guys have somebody else? Had he developed a blend before that other people were doing for you?
Right, yeah. So prior to roasting our own coffee, we were working with Tony's Coffee out of Bellingham. And they had created a few blends with Jack. So we kept those around in name, but we also changed them in profile.
Okay.
And we've adjusted the sourcing model quite a bit too. So when Jack and Ladro were with Tony's, it was all fair trade organic coffees, certified coffees. And since then, Jack and I decided, actually before I ever came on, when we were meeting up and chatting about this idea of roasting our own coffee and the whole potential in front of that, we both had a passion for developing relationships with producers that we decided we really wanted to integrate into Ladro's news story, because we feel that that's really meaningful, and it gives people a whole new perspective on what they're tasting, and the just everything that goes into producing a cup of coffee is really, really special. So we believe strongly in that. So that's the majority of the coffee that we have now, is we've been able to build relationships directly with producers, and Jack and I have been on several sourcing trips. So now we're buying coffees direct from Colombia and several countries in Central America, and we're working toward getting more and more transparency and direct trade stuff going on. Sourcing trip is unpredictable oftentimes, and this one was really exciting and really interesting. It involved us going to, we went to 5 countries in about 15 days, so it was busy and crazy, but super exciting. So our first country was Costa Rica, and then we went to El Salvador, then Nicaragua, then Honduras, and we did Belize briefly. But that was not necessarily for sourcing coffee. I don't think they grow coffee there. But it was relationship building.
Okay.
In Belize. So anyway,
and a little beach, sun.
Don't know what you're talking about. So Costa Rica was they're all so different. Every trip is different.
Yeah.
Even going to the same place again, because the relationship is evolving. Any relationship is always evolving. And we're always trying to push the quality, and so there are always these new variables that we're trying to look at. So like in Costa Rica, I had been a few times before, and this was our first time going together. So Jack and I, we went down, we met up with Francisco Mena from Exclusive Coffees, and his business is founded on the idea of connecting roasters to producers, and they do a great job with it. They make it really easy for us, honestly, to find people that are a good fit. So producers that have maybe a similar size, or not a similar size, but the appropriate size to work with a company like us, where we can buy a meaningful amount of their coffee, and develop kind of a relationship where we want to say, okay, like, we love the profile of this coffee, so great job. We love like the sustainability aspects of it, or how they're working with their communities, are all things that are important to us. And things that are really a lot more meaningful when you see it in first person, firsthand. So anyway, in Costa Rica, we found 2 different relationships that we're going to get started this year. One of them is a producer association, a group in the Central Valley called Aprosetu, and another one is a little micro-lot farm micro-mill called Wanachute, and we're launching a micro-lot from them in a few weeks.
Okay.
Probably not. Probably, I mean, our container's supposed to ship in the next couple weeks, so
Okay.
we'll probably get it launched by the end of May.
Okay.
So that's really, both of those coffees are exciting in very different ways, but that portion of the trip, the Costa Rica portion, was just really involved. So we saw the Central Valley, West Valley, Tarrazú. These are all different growing regions around Costa Rica, and they all have their own thing going on. They all have different, people are planting different varieties. People are doing honey processing there is going crazy. So they're talking about percentages of mucilage that's left on the beans after the cherry is removed, and they're dividing that into all these different grades and types, and they call them different colors. So anything from like gold honey to brown honey, and that affects the flavor. So Costa Rica looked like day to day, get up, maybe probably cup coffees, a few tables of coffee, and then head out in the afternoon and go visit farms and meet producers and hear what they're doing and share what we're doing and learn from one another. And then at the end of the week, we cupped through all the coffees again, and we had kind of made some decisions, and we just confirmed the decisions, and we just start working on getting that container exported. And then moving on, we flew directly to El Salvador and got off the plane and went and cupped coffees right away, and spent the next 4 or 5 days primarily focusing on one relationship that we've been working with for a little while now, and it felt awesome. It's a really good feeling to go back to a community and say to them, hey, it's good to see you again, and we're here, again, and we're buying your coffee again, and we've made some progress in quality there. That's really exciting for us and for the producers. We're getting them to cup with us more. I think that's an evolving thing. So when I first got started in coffee, it was like I was excited about having a job that could be social, and I think that was most of it. That was in college, and then it's evolved since then. So then I started working with Intelligentsia for a little while, and really that's where I think I developed more of a passion for coffee as I know it now, because I got to know Jeff Watts a lot, and he was telling me all about his trips. So he'd come back from wherever, Papua New Guinea or Central America, South America, and I'd hear about the impact that he was having on people's lives, and also just like the excitement and intrigue of travel. So that really caught my attention, and then roasting and cupping sort of brought me in that direction. So I roasted for a while, and now I get excited about coffee's potential for like bridging gaps and for opening people's eyes, I think, to other worlds out there. And so, when we're serving coffee in our cafes, I like the idea of saying to people, hey, look, like this coffee comes from this producer, and here's a picture of him or her and his or her family, and this is the impact that it's having, and this is why they're choosing to grow this type of coffee, and this is why they're choosing to process it this way, and we owe it to them to appreciate that. So I think it's meaningful. Good coffee is... So I was at TED like a couple weeks ago as well, serving coffee at the TED Coffee thing, and every now and then I'd slip it in there, like serving coffee to somebody, and and I'd be like, hey, the coffee like this is better for the world, and they'd be like, wait, what, or they would just walk away maybe, or some of them were really cool. Testers are in general a very interested bunch and very inspiring and inspired, and so, but that's an interesting idea, I think. It's simple, but it really does. Like, people that sell their coffee to people like us are getting more for their coffee than they would from, selling the cherries to a big mill that processes it, and they don't know where it goes. They never see it again. They don't cup their coffee. They don't understand what we appreciate about it. And so I like the idea of like really telling them and showing them, look, this is what an AeroPress looks like. This is how we roast our coffee. This is why we roast it this way.
Cool.
It's fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us the history of Ladro and kind of what you guys are doing right now.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.